figures. Isaiah's vision, Ezekiel's figures. Walk through the fire, no one limbers. Kings and judges, prophets profound. Plowing the word, no mythical ground. Verse after verse, wisdom's bound. Heavenly soundtracks, serving sound. Anybody in here blessed? Anybody in here blessed? Bible in 1 year, we don't rest. Anybody in here blessed? No shortcuts, all divine routes. Listen to the whispers, no room for doubt. Parables drop stronger than gold faucets. Souls hydrated from divine prophets. Study the book, change perspectives. Carefully crafted, not too subjective. A year to reflect, learning perfect. Patterns of grace that time can't deflect. Old Testament drops deep and so real. Kings and warriors, covenant seals. Split that Red Sea, divine reveal. Commandments written, not made of steel. That's the cross on the hill. Unfolding the never blessings, pastor with skill. Scripture flip, every verse fulfilled.
Through the word, every verse, every chapter, nothing unheard. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered, spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ, flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Your emotes in the chat, praising the message, flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick, raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions. Streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extend. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered, spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ, flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Your emotes in the chat, praising the message, flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick, raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions. Streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extend. Everybody in here blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. 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 Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick, raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. You can see I'm doing a little bit of reno back there. You can't see where the reno actually is. It's in the closet, but I just didn't clean everything up. I just thought, yeah, you know, I can leave it up for a day or two until I get everything finished. So when I redid the room, the closet got left to finish later on. Just wanted to get the room back in working order. So I actually finished doing the mudding in the closet over the weekend, and my wife painted. And now I'll be able to put the ceiling in the closet. So that's what's going on back there. And the sound seems good to me, so I can Take this out of my ear and stop listening to myself on the slight delay there. I'm just realizing I can hear the music playing on my other computer, barely, faintly, and it's like, what's that? What do I have? What do I need? What's going on? Okay. So, oh, need to change that. Not what I want. There it is. And we'll just take it off. I don't know what we're reading yet. So, reading. Yes, we will be reading. That's a good plan. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Huh. Today it didn't do it like it had been doing. Oh, there it is. Now I see it. Okay. So I'm just getting this set up, trying to figure out what we're going to be doing. So, Torah Tuesday, I just like that name. I know we did Word Wednesday before, but I want to do Wisdom Wednesday. I haven't spent much time doing Psalms or Proverbs, and I want to do Psalms and Proverbs this year. So that will be our Wednesdays, will be that. So Torah Tuesday, Gospel is going to fit in here either Monday or Thursday. Faith Friday. Thinking that we will talk about different ways to live out our faith, different spiritual disciplines, things along those lines. I'm not sure what to do with the other, so I'm trying to figure out what that, whatever that other is probably today, unless we're doing gospel today. So, trying to figure that out. I mean, it's funny, like some of these things, like a Word Wednesday, Worship Wednesday, Wisdom Wednesday, some of them have a lot that you could go with. I don't want to do Torah Thursday. It doesn't sound the same. We had Mathatos Mondays before, which was gospel. Good News Monday. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. I'm trying to remember what else do I want to do? Trying to figure that out. And I should have got this done over the weekend, and I did not. And I thought, well, we'll just come on stream. Plus, one of the things I'm going to do here, so let me just go ahead and create a poll. Oh, that's not what I want. I want a poll. There it is. All right, so do we want... And I'm doing this intentionally in reverse order. There we go. How long can I do? I can only do 10 minutes. Okay, we'll start with that. So, there we go. Poll is active. I don't know. Hey, Galaxy, welcome in. So for tomorrow, for Tuesday, since I know we'll be jumping into Torah on Tuesday, which book do you want to start with? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, or Deuteronomy? Cat Jam, welcome in, Supersonic. Welcome in. Saved by Grace. Good to have you here, friend. So, if you want to vote in the poll and help pick which book of the Torah we will start with on Tuesday, you can go ahead and put that in, vote for that. I think what I might do for Wisdom Wednesday is let people put and recommend a favorite psalm or proverb, and then we will just go read that one, and we'll do it that way. Donut Christian, welcome in, friend. So, I'm trying to figure out the Bible plan for this year. Let's see with Pastor G. Dude, welcome. Good to see you. What is my stream schedule, by the way? 7:45 to 10, Monday Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That's pretty consistent. I can starting to be able to squeak in a short 1-hour stream Wednesday mornings. So it'll be like 7:45 to 8:45 on Wednesdays. So I've got to add that one to the schedule. A few days I can go later till 11. I'm not going to commit to that right now. I've got so many things going on that won't be doing that. Luce's welcome in. But yeah, so I am going to be adding Wednesday on the schedule because I think I can consistently do that now that I don't have that 8 o'clock meeting like I had most of last year. I still have a 9 o'clock meeting. So, okay, so I've got Torah Tuesdays. I liked that when we did that 2 years ago. So every other year, this is my plan. 1 year we read through the Bible in a year, trying to go through. Then the opposite year, the alternate year, we're going to go slower, and we won't cover everything because covering everything isn't the goal. So we did finish up Revelation last week, if you weren't with us. So I'm pretty happy with that. We were only 10 days late in finishing it. 2 years ago, we did get through all of it. We also did not read Psalms and Proverbs on stream this year, but without having Wednesday streams all year, I feel pretty confident. We did good when, we're reading in the Bible 7 days a week, streaming only 4 days a week. I think we did good. Now, you know me. There's no just read and move on. There has to be discussion around it. So I have friends who are just going to do and just do. We read it. We don't talk about it. Maybe there is something in the chat, but the streamer doesn't spend much time talking about it. That's fine. I still think that's valuable. But what I'm trying to figure out is what else can we do? So Torah Tuesday, Wisdom Wednesday, not doing words. We did words a couple years ago. And we'd pick a word and just study and look at it. Faith Friday, so going to be talking about things to apply in your faith. So spiritual disciplines will be one of those things that we can talk about in there. For instance, prayer, fasting, solitude, all those kinds of things. So it will be something about applying faith on Friday. We'll go look up passages. We'll study that. So that's going to kind of be our exploration day. Theology Thursday. Ooh, it's an interesting thought there, Donut Christian. One of my cautions on that is I want everyone to feel welcome, and I don't want to debate theology. And so sometimes when you do that, but I will think about it. Let me think about that. Because I don't know exactly what I would do other than go, well, let's go study eschatology, or let's go explore that. And that's not really what I would want to do. Or let's go look up soteriology. And that's not there's other people who are good at that. That's not a exciting thing for me to go study those kinds of things. Plus, like I said, I don't want to put anybody's theology down. So, for instance, when I go on my shelf, I have a book that says the 5 different views on Revelation. I think there's merits to why there are 5 different views, because there are things that point in a direction that says this could be the explanation of it. This could be the way to understand it. So I don't want to put anybody down because of that. So that's one reason I think I was shy away from it. I like the title, though, Theology Thursday. That could just be talking all things God. So I don't know. One of those days, either today or Thursday, will be gospel. And we did Mathatos Mondays a few years ago, and that's what we called it, was Mathatos. Just, I'm trying to remember what does that actually mean. Sometimes my brain forgets, and it's probably not gonna find it if I look it up that way. So let's look it up here, Mathatos. Why my brain is not remembering. Oh, that's what it was. Learner, pupil, disciple. Yeah, so we were discipleship. Okay. Couldn't remember what it was off the top of my head. All right, let's see how we are on the poll. No, no. Oh, 100% voting on Genesis. Okay, okay. I didn't expect that. Didn't expect that. But Torah Tuesday, this is where we will start tomorrow, is which book do you want? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, or Deuteronomy? Vote early, vote often. I was thinking, for myself, the one I know the least is probably Numbers. The one I want to know better is Deuteronomy. So that makes sense that everyone voted for Genesis. Okay, so anybody that came in a little late, if you're wondering, hey, what's going on back there? I've got a little bit of demo going on back there. Actually, it's here. Let me pan out. You might be able to see a little bit more. So the closet back here, when I redid the room, I didn't finish the closet. I just shut the door on the closet. So I did mudding over the weekend. My wife painted. She does the painting. I don't do the painting. I need to put the ceiling in there, drop ceiling, put lights in there, and then the closet will be functioning and usable. So that's why and I just left it there. I could move it out of the way so that Stream doesn't see it. And I thought, whatever. Does it matter? I do not care. All right. Poll is almost up. There's 3 votes for Genesis. Now, I try to convince you to vote for something else, and somebody else says, yes, Genesis sounds good. Let's do that. It's probably the book that people know the best. And most people, when you start to read the Bible in a year, usually start with Genesis. So Genesis is going to get usually the most action in January of any book. So I guess we'll jump in and do that the same as everyone else. Okay. Just anticipating here. I'm just going to put Jen. And we'll put whatever we get done in there. Okay. You can change it, but I don't know if I want extra votes or not. Oh, no. Supersonic. That's okay. It was so lopsided. That was just kind of like, I did not expect it to be, all votes for the same one. And yes, I do have the, if you really want something, you can spend the money to vote that way. 200 to 300, yes. All right, the poll is almost done. Come on, poll. Oh, it's like watching paint dry. Come on, poll, finish up. Hurry, count that down. Let's get to the end. And the winner is... How's your weekends, by the way, everybody? Hope you had a beautiful weekend. There we go. Genesis is the winner. Okay. So let's, since I can't think of what else to do, I'm going to do a new poll, and we're going to vote on which gospel we want to do. Because we're going to just do gospel today. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do gospel. And so... I know I'm do it one day of the week, so we're going to do it on Mondays. And that gives me time to figure out what I'm doing on Thursdays. Okay, I'm not going 10 minutes. I started that because not everyone was here. So I'm going to start a poll here and vote for whichever gospel you want us to do. So we're going to do gospel on Monday. I don't have a cool title for that. We'll just be Gospel Monday, I guess. Gospel Monday, Torah Tuesday, Wisdom Wednesday. Still got to come up with something for Thursday. Don't know what that's going to be. And Faith Friday. like I said, we're going to probably talk about spiritual disciplines is one of the things I'm going to do. I've got a couple of books, resources, whatever, that talk about them. But what we will mostly do is not just like read about, or I should say, teach about what a spiritual discipline and what is that you do with a spiritual discipline, but go read scripture passages that might talk about it. So if we're going to talk about prayer, we're going to go look up Bible passages talking about prayer. If we're going to talk about fasting, we will go and find Bible passages talking about fasting. With solitude, we'll go and we'll find Bible passages that talk about solitude. So that'll be kind of the thought there of faith practices that we can put into place, living out our faith. I might talk about blessed practices. If you know the blessed practices, I've talked about those before. So that will be some of what we focus on and do there. Still, can I come up with something for Thursday that's different? So, okay, if we got the Torah covered, we've got the Gospels covered, and we've got wisdom covered. So those are our three. This is what we're going to hit. That leaves out history. I know. So what I was thinking. That's what I thought the other day is. It would work on Friday for faith. Friday favorites? I could do that, which would be favorite Bible books. What could I do with faith on Thursday then? Friday favorites. What's another synonym for faith and disciplines? Spiritual disciplines. Actually, what I want is synonyms. Synonym. How's the voting going here? One person voting. Apparently I don't do voting enough. Nobody wants to vote. Voting is so boring. Why would we vote for the Bible? Just read it to us. Okay. Practices. Okay. Standards, attitudes, ethics, blah, blah, blah. Rules. No. Principles, no. Codes, no. Etiquette, no. Formalities, blah. Okay, let's try set of faith practices, disciplines. Because it would be spiritual disciplines would be what I'd be thinking about. Conduct? No. That's not it. Synonyms? No, that's not working. All right, which one are we going to start with? Ooh, Luke got a vote. Matt's got 2 votes. John with no love. Mark is neglected. Okay. It's fine. I don't have skin in the game on that one. They're all good. I have no preference. What is another way to title that? It'd be your walk. I don't know if I'm going to get something on that that's going to give me anything close enough what I want. Like your walk, your way of life, your path. Maybe the path would come in. And it's just not loading here. Get your final votes in. Get your votes in. Okay, we did get some T's in there. Matthew is the winner. Okay, so we're going to be so just like everyone else. And doing Genesis and Matthew. Okay. Your walk, your way of life. Let me put Way in. Let me see if I can get something off of Way. And then we'll get going. I still got time to figure this out. I just wanted to, rather than just kind of like cram it together, just start, I just kind of want to talk about it. Fuck, I wanted to be different. I did. Like, oh, we're starting the New Testament in Matthew. We're starting the Old Testament in Genesis. Okay. Okay. So what is Way? The tack. The process. Step process. I don't want to add. Don't give me no add. What do we have for process? Trail. Ooh. I don't like transaction there, but trail. Ooh, Transform Thursday. There we go. Transform Thursdays. Okay. There we go. Transform Thursday. Okay. I'll have to figure out what we're doing there. Here we got Matthew in the Gospels, Genesis in there. Wednesday, I'm going to go start a section in the Discord where you can put in your favorite wisdom in there. So this would be your Psalm, your Proverbs, your Ecclesiastes, your Song of Solomon. Okay? If you have a favorite among those, we could put it in there. Job is also wisdom literature, but Job is too long to put in a category like this unless we're going to go through Job beginning to end. So maybe you should have read the Bible in reverse like the Seinfeld episode, starting with Revelation. Well, we just finished Revelation, so then maybe go back to Jude, which we just finished not too long ago. Bizarro there we could go with. Okay. So Transforms Thursday are going to be talking about spiritual disciplines and practices. And then get rid of the faith on there. Friday favorites. So I'm going to pick a book that's I know you're being funny. I appreciated it though. One of my favorites, I will have to decide, but this will be like picking a book like Ruth, Esther, Jonah, and we're going to take some of those short books and we'll read through a whole book and we'll be bouncing around all over the place. I may let you vote between two books perhaps, and that kind of thing. Ecclesiastes is good stuff, just saying. Everything is worthless except the fear of the Lord. Welcome in, Donnie. Yeah, so like I said, on Wisdom Wednesday, we'll go and we'll read a favorite of someone's, or, like I said, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon, Psalms, Proverbs, all those books. Throw a favorite of yours. Don't just say this verse. We'll read the whole chapter, so just put the chapter in. You don't understand. Don't know much about Song of Solomon. I know it's one of those books that doesn't get talked about that often, partly because it's greatly metaphorical, and two, it's sensual in nature, and we have kids in the audience, and so pastors don't usually preach from it. I probably have done, in 20 years, 5 or 6 sermons on Song of Solomon, so I don't even cover it that often, so I'm not surprised. Ecclesiastes is often, I'm not sure what your, Widom? Or is that supposed to be wisdom? What? Not family-friendly book. Yeah, exactly. It's not super family-friendly of a book. Ecclesiastes does get preached a little more often, and that's often usually used around funerals. Oh, what do you mean? Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were just misspelling wisdom. Okay, totally. What do you mean it's not PG? Well, it is. Well, here's one of the things that this is America. This is not the rest of the world. The America, because of the Puritans, we have this whole view of everything in Scripture, everything that we do in public, as far as worship and all of those things, needs to really be sanitized and civil. And there's lots of places in the Old Testament where it's graphic by nature. And I'll give you an example. We went through this when we were reading Jeremiah, and like Jeremiah is supposed to be cooking his food over excrement, but we want that to be as clean and sanitary as we can, and so we'll use like dung or something like that, or we'll use the excrement kind of thing. Oh no, the Bible's not doing that in the Hebrew. Like, whatever is the most vulgar word that you would use to describe excrement, that's how it should be translated when we read it. How many times you ever hear a pastor use that, when you're reading the Bible? Hey, we don't do that because we're Puritan heritage and we've got to, sanitize even the Bible. Oh, Supersonic, you're right. It's not Jeremiah, it's Ezekiel. Thanks for the correction there. Yes, it's Ezekiel who's baking his bread over. Yeah. David's dowry to Saul for his daughter's hand in marriage. Yeah, that's not very PG there either. What's funny, though, is you're probably more inclined to hear the stories about violence preached than you are the stories that have any kind of sexual innuendo there. Okay, so we're going to go to Matthew. And maybe we should read Matthew in backwards order. We'll read Matthew 28, then 27. That would be super confusing. Okay, so Matthew is the thing that we're gonna do. Oh, I was on the wrong thing. There we go. Now, I really like the way of reading different parts of the Bible on different days of the week. So if you're doing a Bible reading plan, I've got one that is a different type of genre of literature every day of the week. It is my favorite way to read the Bible, honestly. And so it's similar to this, where there's New Testament on one day, the Gospels. There is Genesis on one day, the Torah. So there's wisdom on one day. So that's the same. Actually, you might do Psalms on one day, Proverbs on the other. I'm trying to remember. Or it's Psalms and Proverbs one day and other wisdom literature on another day. Historical books on one day, the rest of the New Testament on another day. And when you're reading Isaiah, you're not stuck in Isaiah for weeks on end until you get done with it. You're stuck in Isaiah for one day until you return back to it the next day or the next week. So you read it one day a week. It makes it so that at least a couple, 2-3 things that you're reading, I have some familiarity for you, and also have more movement in the story than some of the prophets do. So yes, it was a little bit of both violent and graphic. Well, yes. Graphic violence, graphic nudity, all in the Bible, everybody. Okay, so we're going to Matthew. Let me just go and change my title so anybody coming in knows we are reading in Matthew. New year, let's go ahead and start with Matthew. That's a good place. Okay. One of the things, and I'm sure we've talked about it before, and many of you know this, Matthew gives one genealogical record, and Luke gives a different genealogical record. And so why are they different? Why are they different? One of the theories that I've heard for a long time is, well, one of them is the genealogy of Joseph, and the other is the genealogy of Mary. And maybe it is true. I don't know. How do we know whose their genealogy is? It just says the genealogical record of Jesus. First, third point of view? I'm not sure what you mean there. First, third point of view. One other that I've heard recently that I kind of like is what you would have would be the biological genealogy, and the other would be the legal genealogy. Yeah, I know what you meant, the difference between the two, but I don't know what you mean between first and third point of view. Like, what do you mean by first point of view? First person? Third person? I'm not catching the difference between first and third, is what I'm saying. I don't know what you mean by the difference between the first and third. Or are you just saying first book and third book? Or the chapters they're in? Oh, okay, I got what you're saying. So Matthew was first hand with Jesus, and Luke is third hand. Okay. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that one. Yeah, Luke went off sources. Okay. Anyway, what I was going to say is, so the one is, so for instance, if you had an illegitimate person in your family and they were in your ancestry, that would be biological. But from a legal status, for instance, since Joseph does claim Jesus as his son, he is not the biological father, but he is the legal father. So I hope that makes sense. So in one regard, the thought is that one of these is a legal heritage genealogy, and the other might be a biological genealogy heritage, and both of them are focused on Joseph and coming through Joseph, so neither one would be Mary's genealogy. Honestly, I don't know if it matters. They're both telling a different story. They're both telling it different ways. We can see, for instance, in Matthew, that Matthew is using a device of having 14 generations. And when you're doing something like that, in one case, he doubles the person in two different parts. So you get counted in the leading up to and you get counted in the going out from. So you also, when you're doing genealogies, the Bible will do this. If there's somebody of not prominence in your genealogy, you may leave them out just for the sake of, if I want to use 5 generations, I might actually be talking about 6 or 7 generations, but I left a couple of unimportant people out of there so that I would go to the more important, the more prominent person that might be a grandfather instead of a father. And I call them the father of, because they are. They're still the father of. They are an ancestor of. So. Oh, by the way, I may need to leave early. My wife is headed to the doctor today, and on her way back, we need to drop the car off. And so when she messages and says she's on her way, then I will need to go meet her and drop pick her up when she drops the vehicle off. So, okay. So, there might be other theories out there I don't know on the genealogy. I just figured let's talk about that before we read it. So, Matthew. This is the record of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. So, he's doing 3 things. He's giving the title. He is the anointed one, the Christ. He is the son of David, so therefore he is going to have the throne of David. And he is the son of Abraham, so it goes back to Abraham as the one who the promise first was initiated to. Abraham was the father of Isaac, Isaac the father of Jacob, Jacob the father of Judah, and his brothers. Judah was the father of Perez and Zerah by Tamar. Perez the father of Hezron, Hezron the father of Ram, Ram the father of Aminadab, Aminadab the father of Nahshon, Nahshon the father of Salmon, Salmon the father of Boaz by Rahab, Boaz the father of Obed by Ruth, Obed the father of Jesse, and Jesse the father of David the king. So we have Abraham to David, and we have 14 there, and we have 3 women listed. Why are women being listed in a genealogy? That's not how genealogies work. So what is Matthew doing here? Let's go look those names up. You know I like looking up names, and if women show up in a genealogy, then that is something that we should go look up. So we have Tamar, which I want to say, my brain says gazelle is what it means. I might be wrong. Rehab and Ruth. Getting close to 4 years. Getting close to 4 years, Supersonic. Maybe it's 3.5. I'm not sure. This is year 4, something like that. Oh, come on. That's not what I wanted to do. I did those wrong. Let's go back. I just picked the verse, not the names there. Okay. There's Tamar. I need to do it this way. Loading, loading, loading. Keep those verses loading. Tamar. Thank you, Lucis. And then Rahab. And I know Ruth is friendship. Ruth is friendship. Or something along those lines. Okay. So we have Tamar. Palm tree.
Strong's G 2283. Thamar. Thamar.
Okay.
Thayer's lexicon. Thamar. Thamar.
Okay. So they're pronouncing it with an H. I usually have heard it without the H, and it's how it's usually put in English. Tamar, not Thamar. Rahab.
Strong's G 4477. Rahab.
Rahab,
Rahab.
which is
Thayer's
wide.
lexicon. Related entry. Raab. Raab.
Okay, and here we have Ruth. Ruth. A female
Strong's G
friend. Wow.
4503. Ruth. Ruth.
Okay. I like friendship more than just friend, but that's just nuance of how you're going to translate it. So we have 3 women listed in the genealogy. Why are there women listed in a genealogy here? What is Matthew trying to tell us from the very beginning? What's he trying to tell us? Balaam, do you think there's snow or something in Bible times, Antarctica or something? Yeah, there's snow in Bible times. I mean, there's a few references in places to snow, or things like in Proverbs referring to things being white as snow. So they certainly did have snow, and they would know that snow was on top of mountains. They may not experience snow. I mean, they're Mediterranean climate, so. But Antarctica, they wouldn't have known about it. Perhaps they could have, but it would have still been there. Okay. One of the things about Matthew. Balaam. The only really place I honestly want to travel or go is the South Pole Research Base in Antarctica. The scientist people there are so cool. I don't know a lot of people that want to go to Antarctica, but I never wanted to until I watched Whale Wars. And now I'm intrigued and would like to go. I'm not really interested in getting onto Antarctica. I just want to stay on a boat is kind of the way I think about it. So, anyway, I'm watching. I think the beard and the hat of old men was referred to snow, I think. Oh, yeah. the wisdom of it, the crown, like so if you're looking at a mountaintop, the top is going to have snow on the top. So when you had snow on the top that came down into your beard, there would be wisdom within that, and you could be seen as a pillar, as a mountain. Yeah, on the head, yes. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't remember where that's from, but that does sound right. Okay. So one of the things about Matthew, if you remember what Matthew's occupation is, Matthew was a tax collector. He's also called Levi. So Matthew is a tax collector. He's an outcast from society because he's viewed as not doing everything according to what should be. He's viewed negatively as a sinner and tax collector. Those names go together. Like here, sinners are here, and then there's tax collectors. There's worse than sinners. So he's not welcome in most of society. He can hang out with the other sinners and the tax collectors, but he's not going to get invitations to all kinds of things. He's outcast from society. So Tamar is a foreigner and a widow that is more righteous than Judah. And then we have Rahab, who is who acted righteously and saved the spies when the spies were in the land. And we have Ruth, who is a Moabite, who comes alongside and helps Naomi in those. So we have a couple of places where we have the grafting in of people that society would have looked down on. So they would have looked down on them. They would not have valued them. And Matthew is one of those people that society looks down on. There's a word that can be referred to as a mumser, a less than, an outcast. You know, pick whatever group of people that's easy to diminish and cast aside. And Matthew's making sure that people know, if you are a person who is cast aside, there are people in the line of Jesus who were cast out as well. And there were vibrant and part of the genealogy that Jesus had. So all three of those women fit in that category. I'm watching. Interesting how I remember reading Judas was in charge of the money versus Matthew. Oh, you know what? Wow, I don't know why I've never thought of. Why wouldn't have Matthew been put in charge of the money as a tax collector? And I guess the assumption is tax collectors are thieves, so you wouldn't want to put him in charge of that, maybe. Lucis. God thunders from his voice marvelously, doing great things, which we do not know. For the snow, he says, fall on the earth, and to the downpour of the rain, and the downpour of the rain be strong. The irony of Judas, though. Oh, yes. Yeah, Judas is named, or Judah, the tribe of Judah, the prominent tribe, the ones who should have prominence. Yeah, and then he's the one that betrayal comes from. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. Just the first 14 names. Let's keep going. David was the father of Solomon by the wife of Uriah. Okay, notice her name isn't mentioned. Her name isn't mentioned. Uriah is a Hittite. Okay, so we have another foreigner mentioned here, the prominence being on Uriah. If you remember the story, Uriah is righteous in that he cares about his men. He is not looking to take advantage of anything that would benefit him. When he comes home from war, he's like, no, I'm not going to sleep in a house when my men are sleeping outdoors in the elements. I am sleeping outdoors. I'm not going to take advantage of privilege. So we have Uriah listed in the genealogy, not Bathsheba. So that's so interesting, I think. Solomon was the father of Rehoboam. Rehoboam the father of Abijah. Abijah the father of Asa. Asa the father of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat the father of Joram. Joram the father of Uzziah. Uzziah the father of Jotham. Jotham the father of Ahaz. Ahaz the father of Hezekiah. Hezekiah the father of Manasseh. Manasseh the father of Amon. Amon the father of Josiah. Josiah the father of Jeconiah and his brothers at the time of deportation to Babylon. Okay, so I'm just going to pull out my chart of the kings here a second, and let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 kings in the genealogy, starting with Rehoboam. So he includes David and Solomon in there, so that would be 23, and he has shortened it to 14. So when he's doing the genealogy here, he is skipping some of them. He doesn't list them all. So let's see, Asa, Jehoshaphat, Joram. He skipped. Oh, there's where he skips. He skips from Jehoram. He skips Ahaziah, Athaliah, Joash, Amaziah. He skips all of them and then goes to Uzziah. So there's right there as an example of how when you are doing this, you're not negating a genealogy. Yeah, hard to pronounce some. A little bit, but there's some easy ways to learn Hebrew names, and so you can either have a consonant vowel for a syllable or a consonant vowel consonant. So every time there are two consonants, you split those in half. So Manasseh, you've got two S's. There's a break. Hezekiah, you have H-E, Z-E, K-I, A-H. And I know that A is a vowel, but in Hebrew there's actually a consonant there. So that's the trick on pronouncing Old Testament names, or at least getting the syllables right. Then it sounds like you're doing it. Mad Mama's Farm, welcome in. Chocolate chip cookie, yum. Yes. Thanks for the lurk. Oh, that's a hi. I thought that was a lurk, the peeking up. Okay. So here, 14. The kings are ordered 14 kings. There's actually more than 14 kings, but he's symbolically taking 14. If 7 is the number of totality and completeness, 14 is doubling that. 14 is doubling that, and now he's had from Abraham to David, 14. From David to captivity, 14. It's not about he's trying to tell an accurate story. That's not the point of what he's doing. He is using a methodology to make points about things of the genealogy of Jesus. So now we're going to move to the next section. After the deportation of Babylon, Jeconiah became the father of Shealtiel. Shealtiel, the father of Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel, the father of Abiad. Abiad, the father of Eliakim. Eliakim, the father of Azor. Azor, the father of Zadok. Zadok, the father of Achim. Achim, the father of Eluid. Eluid, the father of Eleazar. Eleazar, the father of Mathan. Mathan, the father of Jacob. Jacob, the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, by whom Jesus was born, who is called the Christ. So, did you see the book in there too? How he had who is the Christ at the beginning, and now he comes to the end, and Jesus, who is the Christ. So we have Mary listed as well. The husband of Mary, just like we had at the beginning of this one, the wife of Uriah. We have the husband of Mary. What does Mary mean? I don't know why. Oh, doesn't Mary mean bitter? We're in verse 16. I know Mara is bitter, and I think Mary is a variant of Mara. Maria, Miriam.
Strong's G 3137. Maria. Maria.
Oh, their rebellion.
Mexican. Mariam.
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 Oh, Miriam from Moses' sister. Interesting. I don't think I noticed that. connection with Miriam, that maybe all of these Marys in the New Testament. I mean, just think about this. You are an oppressed people by the Romans, and you name your daughters Rebellion. There's a bunch of rebellion girls wandering around all over the streets. There's Miriam here, Miriam there. Oh, what are you thinking about? On some level, Miriam is the girl who watches over her brother Moses, who ensures that his safety has been brought about, and he's the deliverer. So, is there something connected there with Mary and Miriam, that these Marys in the New Testament were hopes of the people, that a new Miriam would come, so that Moses, the one like Moses, the prophet that was supposed to be like Moses, who never happened, could come? And they would be delivered from not bondage in slavery in Egypt, but from the overlord Rome. That they would restore the kingdom. They would restore the king. By the way, if we go to Zerubbabel there, Zerubbabel is mentioned in Ezra, Nehemiah, and we just read through some of that. So Ezra, Nehemiah, coming back from captivity, Zerubbabel is there, and since this is the kingly line, we would know. But Zerubbabel is not given power to have a throne. The priests are the ones who take power, and then the Maccabeans had a chance to, but they don't want to do that. And then later, the Eleusids with Herod are put in power. But here's the legitimate line. Okay. So all the all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations, and from David a deportation to Babylon, 14 generations, and from the deportation of Babylon to Christ, 14 generations. So he is doing something symbolic there with 3 repeating 14s. And again, 7 would be a number of totality and completeness, and you double it, it's doubly blessed. Like if you have a double portion, that could be what he's trying to do symbolically, and then 3 sets of 14. So he's setting up his genealogy. He's telling a story here. It's not about what is said. It's about the message he's trying to convey. There's divine order in this. There's divine plan in this. There wasn't neglect in this. We are going back to restoration. We're going back. So if we have Abraham wandering until we have established kingdom, then we have established kingdom until exile, then we have exile until now. What would be the next cycle? The next cycle would be established kingdom again. He's also inferring with the whole section of Kings there that Jesus is the descendant who is of the line of David. So we have all of those things going on. Hope that's all making sense there. Now the birth of Jesus Christ happened this way. While his mother Mary was engaged to Joseph, but before they came together, she was found to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit. Okay, what do we have here on the footnote? The connotation in Greek, before they came together, is initial marriage and domestic union. Okay, so the engagement process had begun. The marriage ceremony had not yet happened. Because Joseph, her husband to be, was a righteous man, and because he did not want to disgrace her, he intended to divorce her privately, or send her away. So, okay, let me read this. Full betrothal was so binding that its breaking required a certificate of divorce, and the death of one party made the other a widow or a widower. So if in order to end the marriage, even though they have not finished the marriage, so this would be like in nowadays, if you got an engagement ring, a needing to have a divorce to end the engagement, if you want to think about it that way. That's how important the betrothal was. So once the betrothal happened, marriage is the only outcome, or divorce. So, and that He wants to do it privately. He doesn't want to do a big display. He doesn't want to go out in public and do it, which would be his right if he thinks he's the wrong party. He doesn't want that, so he's going to do it privately. When he had contemplated this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, because the child conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you will name him Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. This all happened so that what was spoken by the Lord through the prophet would be fulfilled. Okay. One of the things with Matthew, he is constantly going back to the Old Testament and quoting the Old Testament. It does not mean, if we go back and we read the original context of this, that anybody, when they were hearing this in the original context, would have thought about this being a passage about the coming Messiah. And we read this in the original context, we would not have thought about that. There is, and I can't remember which king it is. Does it tell us? Isaiah 7:14. It's unclear the citation. Yeah. Anyway, there's an occasion where a king is told to ask for a sign, and the king's like, I won't ask for a sign. And so then he says, I will give you a sign. Since you won't ask for it, I will give you a sign. And the young woman, and it can be translated either way, in the Hebrew, it would just be young woman. In the Greek Septuagint, it's more towards virgin. That's where we get it. Not saying anything about that at the moment. The young woman will conceive and give birth. So ideally, what is being proclaimed in Isaiah there when that happens is that that's going to happen, and it did happen, and then the rest of what was pronounced there would have happened. So I'm watching. I wonder what the statute of limitations was for a mental disability like Alzheimer's or dementia. Not that I think a wife could remarry while her husband is in that state, but I wonder what the law said regarding this. I don't think that it really has much to do in that regard, but let's just pick a different kind of thing. If somebody was physically disabled and bedridden, like Methuselah was, or if it happened in battle, there wasn't a divorce that would happen. The other thing is, if it's the male as opposed to the female, women didn't always have the same capacity to get divorced that men did. So a man could do that, but you would have needed to care for her. Thank you for the sub, Uncle Teddy. 11 months. 11 months. That's so awesome. Almost a year. Okay. So this is what will be fulfilled. So if we go back and read Isaiah, where this comes from, people would have understand this to already be happening. So one of the things that Matthew does is he goes back and he says, God's done this before. Let me remind you of what God's done before. That situation in the past is like the one in front of us. So we have this idea that prophecy is a declared statement that this will happen, and then we wait for it to happen. That is not necessarily the biblical view of it. Here, he's going back and he's finding something that applies. And he's saying, just like that happened before, it's happening again. Look, the virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and you will call his name Emmanuel, which means God with us. When Joseph awoke from sleep, he did what the angel of the Lord told him. He took his wife, but did not have marital relations with her until she gave birth to a son, whom he named Jesus. Why would that be the case? Why would that be the case that it's emphasizing this here? What does David try to do? If we go back, what does David try to do when Bathsheba is pregnant? He tries to cover up. He tries to cover up the circumstance and situation so as to cloud the reality of who the father is. Joseph is not doing the unrighteous thing of trying to cover up the potential for who the father is Joseph is letting it go forward with clarity that he is not the biological father. Joseph, you are not the father. So, yeah, so nobody could negate the pregnancy by the Holy Spirit. Exactly, I'm watching. And Matthew points this out. Matthew is making a distinct point about this. So, Joseph was righteous in what he was trying to do. Joseph wants to care for Mary. Another part of a private divorce might be that he is going to provide for her needs. Yeah, I was just thinking, Maury. Yes. Joseph, you are not the father. Yes, Maury certainly comes to mind. But in the original context of Isaiah, it would not have had to have been a virgin. Here it's clarifying that so as to make no doubt that what was conceived was of God. Now, here's one of those interesting things. Where is it? You will name him Jesus, and then they will name him Emmanuel. So the name Joseph is to give is Jesus. The name that the crowd is going to proclaim is Emmanuel, which means God with us. So, oh, you spelled Murray. I didn't even notice that. The Greek form of Iosis, which has been translated into Latin as Jesus, is the same in Hebrew, Yeshua, which means God saves, is typically rendered as Lord in the Old Testament, in a fairly common name among Jews in the first century Judea and Galilee, as referenced by the number of people by the name in the Septuagint and Josephus indicated. Okay. So, it's also interesting, Yeshua was about as common as Bob is today. Yeah, it was a common name. Well, as I was mentioning, as Mary is related to rebellion, if you want... So connect this for a second, if you will. Miriam, is the sister of Moses who was to come. Joshua, is the one who came after Moses. So in both of these, there could be an indication of a desire for Moses to come and deliver the people. That there should be a one like Moses, a prophet like Moses who is to come. So in both ways, the commonality of the name is pointing to the desire in the community to have Moses' return. Lucis, that reminds me of how God closed up all the female from getting pregnant so that there was no doubt in people's mind that Isaac was a son of Abraham's. Oh, Abraham's son, yes. Well, yeah, in regards to Sarah, there's also the miraculous timing of it as far as age goes that makes it a miraculous birth. We can also, Matthew doesn't tell us, but Luke does, of Elizabeth and Zechariah, which is also a miraculous birth that we could point back to Abraham of beyond giving birth years and that. So I got an ad break, so not sure when that is. So let me give you fish for a minute. And why was this just off cam? Already occurred? Okay. Yeah, usually it tells me that the ad is coming in, and then it gives me the countdown of the ad, like, a minute later, 30 seconds later. It's really weird of when it's telling me and when the actual timing is. Well, in regards to fertility, women are born with all of the eggs that they will ever be able to release. Men's bodies produce the seed on an ongoing basis when they reach age to be able to do that. So there is a constant availability to be able to do that. So, oh, what do we got? Donnie with the gifted tier to Supersonic Saved by Grace. Donnie, thank you so much, friend. Appreciate that. Ads be gone. Yes. There we go. Okay. So we often put together the aspects of the whole story of Luke and Matthew together with the shepherds. Matthew doesn't talk about shepherds. He's talking about, so if we went through the genealogy, notice the number of foreigners that are mentioned. Okay, so we have Tamar, who is a foreigner. We have Ruth, who is a foreigner. We have Rahab, who is a foreigner. We have Uriah, who is a foreigner. Was there another one? Okay, those were all the foreigners mentioned in the genealogy. You're lucky you have a sub. I just subbed you back. Okay. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea in the time of King Herod, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, "Where is the one who was born King of the Jews? For we saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." Luke wasn't with the OG 12, right? How did he get in the Bible again? Okay. Luke travels with Paul. So Luke is a Gentile. He was a physician. He travels with Paul. He is constantly around all of the 12 in some regard when they're coming in and out of missionary journeys and the like. So he is asking questions about all this. Luke also writes the book of Acts. Without Luke, we don't have all of the story of the gospel spread of the book of Acts. So Luke is a historian who's writing all of those things down. So he also says he's writing a letter in the book of Acts to Theophilus, which means lover of God. Whether that's a title for a person, an actual person, or it's to a general title for anybody who's a lover of God to read his book, it's unclear. So it does appear that Luke traveled with, would have gotten information along the way of all of those types of things. So where he gets all of his information, he says at the beginning of Acts that he studied these things thoroughly, or at the beginning of Luke, I don't remember, that he studied these things thoroughly. There is a thought that Luke may have, with Mary being with John, that Luke likely interviewed Mary for getting some of the knowledge that he has, for the way he tells the story, for the pieces about Elizabeth and the visitation, all those things right there at the beginning of Luke. There's a thought that Luke talked to Mary, so. Was he a traveling physician or retired? I don't think retired was really a concept in the New Testament era, but he would have been traveling with Paul and been a physician. So I don't really know enough about how physicians worked, if they stayed put or they were, nomadic in some way. I don't know enough about that. But I think he was practicing, at least until he was traveling with the apostles. Side topic, there is no way to dodge a follower bit alert, but there is a way to bypass a sub alert if not gifted. Oh, okay. If there's these guys would have just signed the thing at the end, all the doubters wouldn't have the Gospels are anonymous argument. Oh, well, you know what? I don't care whether the arguments about who wrote them and all, they're just it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. The relevance is that the early church unanimously began to identify these as authoritative. So that's all we need. They identified these as authoritative, that they aligned with what their knowledge was. They were valuable for teaching, and so who wrote them is irrelevant. I don't care. Yeah, Supersonic from viewers and gotcha. Hey, Johnny Darko, good morning, y'all. Gonna make some breakfast and lurk. Thank you, friend. By the way, Johnny was streaming, reading the Bible with a physical Bible. It was pretty cool. So he's got a camera top down looking at the Bible there on the desk. It was pretty cool. If you want to go check out, follow Johnny Darko. Johnny 5 is alive. Okay. Oh, I know what I was going to get at. Okay, so the star when it rose. Let's see what the footnote says. In its rising, referring to the astrological significance of a star in a particular portion of the sky. The term used of east, plural, is used. The singular is typically used of rising of a star. As such, should not normally be translated as east. Okay, so they're making a distinction there about translation. Okay, so when a star is rising, the idea is it's coming above the horizon, okay? So the star is rising above the horizon in its orbit to show up. So that's what that idea of we saw the star in the east, or we saw the star while we were in the east, we saw the star when it rose. So depending on, there are so many different things out there. You could go look at it. What is going on here? What was the star that they followed? One of the things that we have is, how would they know it was a king of the Jews? Well, if it's in the constellation Leo, the lion, then the tribe of Judah is the lion. That would let them know that perhaps it is in Judah is the king, because that would be the case. Virgo is the virgin. And so if it was in Virgo, that points to the virgin birth as well. We also have, there's a king star and a king planet that do some alignment of things. And so it could be the king star or the king planet or both of them. There's a lot of possibilities of what it is. That's the one I kind of like. Hey, Star Fox, welcome in. I'm watching. I wish I could figure out what I'm doing wrong with reconnecting Twitch alerts. I did all I was supposed to, but the alerts don't work on my extra emotes are still, and your extra emotes are still gone. I don't know. I have every once in a while where OBS is not accurately or adequately connected, and that's why it doesn't happen for me. Putting on the Reds, welcome in, friend. How have you been? Okay, so we've got the star. I could do more about that. There's other people who've done a lot of study on it. It's kind of fascinating. It doesn't necessarily help us figure out when the birth of Jesus is, though, because is the star at conception? Is the star at birth? When is the star? You're doing okay? Oh, good. Glad to hear that. Okay. When Herod heard this, he was alarmed, and all Jerusalem with him. This one's always fascinating to me. All Jerusalem with him. Why are they alarmed? Because if the king's alarmed, you're going to be alarmed. I think it's also foreshadowing. After assembling all the chief priests and the experts in the law, he asked them where the Christ was to be born. In Bethlehem of Judea, they said, for it is written this way by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are in no way least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel. Okay, so one of the things that where the Messiah is to come, there are two different pieces of Messiah, and we usually only focus on, or you probably have only heard the Messiah, the son of David, but there's also Messiah, the son of Joseph. So just putting that into mind, this is of the son of David, so that's why it's Judah. That's why the emphasis there. So, then Herod privately summoned the wise men and determined from them when the star had appeared. So you saw its rising. When was that? Star Fox, Leo and Virgo, never thought of that. I look at the night sky and think which one of the stars they followed, and if the star was supernova or became super bright. Well, some people have thought comet because of the idea of it moving, but more likely a star that moves is a planet, okay? And they call everything in the skies a star. So there is a king star, which is Regula. There is a king planet, which is Jupiter. I'd have to go look, but somewhere in the 2 to 4 BC range, which is when we think the birth of Jesus happened, there is a joining of the king star and the king planet, and then there's retrograde. So retrograde, if you don't know, is when something moving in the sky because of our view. So like if I'm in line with you here, I look like I'm still. But if we get off center, so it would be like viewing it from one standpoint, and then we get here, so it looks like it stands still, and then as we move forward, it moves again. So there's this thing of crossing in the sky, which becomes retrograde. Retrograde happens there, which would look like instead of the star progressing in the sky, we passed it, it stopped, or it even went backwards. And then it progresses again as it moves across the star, across the galaxies, all the other stars. So in relation to the other stars, it appears to stop or move backwards. So that, I think, is a really good explanation of a possibility of what it was, but I don't know if it really was. Why do you call it BC AD? I mean, why count down in original history? I'm not sure what you mean by the second one. Why count down in original history? Because, okay. You mean, why is it 3 BC? Well, when they came up with that numbering system, it was because they were looking at when Christ came, and the marking of time became from Christ. So AD is Latin, and I think it's something to do with the year of our Lord. We count up now, yeah, but you have to go backwards. If you have a center point that you're counting from. So you're just asking about what the BC. Okay, I missed that. So now they would call before Common Era, and they'll call it Common Era. But at some point, I don't know when it was, 3rd, 5th century, they began numbering from that date. And when they began numbering from that date, everything that happened before, you can't just say 5000 BC and have a counting up from another point backwards. You can only have one starting point of time. So you're before it and you're after it is what it is. They counted like the end of the world would be 0? No. They're counting at the birth of Christ is the everything is marked. So it's 5,000 years before Jesus' birth, or it's 2,000 years after Jesus' birth. So it's relating everything to that. We're not counting down to 0. So in BC, they weren't counting BC. The Egyptians would have had their own dating system. The Babylonians would have their own dating system. The Hebrews had their own dating system of when things are. But when Rome and the Roman Empire and the church was involved, at some point they set a dating system that became a universal dating system. So that's what that is. You could have definitely hung out with astronomers. You love astronomy. Well, okay. My wife just said she's leaving, so that means we need to wrap up. So sorry about that, but that's one of those things that happen. So, okay, so we'll start over with Matthew 2 tomorrow. I'll just mark that we got Matthew 1 done today. Or I shouldn't say tomorrow. That will be next week. We'll pick this up. Okay. Oh, okay. So let's say 5K BC is the first day, then 2K BC, there 3K. Yes, exactly, Supersonic. Yes. Star Fox, you're welcome. You're welcome. I was going to say, let me go find this a minute because we're talking about it. I believe it's BethlehemStar.com. Yes. So if you go here, BethlehemStar.com, this person has gone back through, does a really good job of talking about what the different scriptures say about it, what might that look like in the sky, what are the dates that work for that, and then figuring out some of those things. And then it goes forward to some crucifixion stuff. Again, we can take the night sky back in time, put it back, and look at what it looked like. And what they also do, which I like, is looking at the night sky from being in Babylon, then moving it to looking at the night sky from being in Jerusalem. So some of this is really good, really like what they do here, but I don't know if it's 100% accurate. It's a good approach when you're getting the dates of birth and those things. I've seen other ones that disagree with this and go in another direction. Michael Heiser had one as well. I don't remember what his site is or any of that. So this is BethlehemStar.com. If you want to go spend some time looking at what it possibly could have been like and looked like, I think it's a compelling argument. There's a few places where I'm like, okay, that's good. It's the best I've heard, but I don't know if I'm 100% convinced. That's where I'm at. So this is a really good approach to it of trying to identify and have it match the biblical story. So that's why I like it. That's why I like it. Okay. Let's go see who we can raid today. Okay, that's obviously not true. Let's refresh that. I'm always curious why it doesn't automatically, when I click raid, have an updated version of who's actually on and who's not. Sometimes it's stuck. Oh, I haven't gone there in a while. Oh, I haven't gone there either. What is he doing? Doing zombies? Yeah, I'm not going to go there then. Not a big zombie fan. Seems like the least intelligent kind of, thing out there. I think hit Coach Collab stream instead of Guide the Raid. Oh, you hit collab stream instead. Okay. Oh, you're welcome, Donnie. Who were you trying to say to go to? Oh, DJ Profit? Okay. I think we rated him. I was trying to find someone else that I haven't gone to. So I found someone that I'm going to go to. Paris Plays. I don't know if everyone knows her. I haven't seen her on. She used to stream more in the evenings, and she was one of those that we did pass the stream for a couple of years back, or when we were first getting started. She had some stuff going on. So we're going to go over there. So let me give you a blessing. May God seeking comfort find you. May his loving arms bind you. May his might protect you. May his wisdom direct you. May the joyous love of Jesus Christ be with you and all those you know, both now and forevermore. Amen. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Love you. Can't wait to see where God takes us this year. It's gonna be great.
Flat cap on his head, he's streaming live. Reading from the book, the word's so alive. A prayer in his heart that lifts the soul. In the digital world where spirits roll. Hallelujah, from the screen we scream. Join the pastor in the holy dream, spreading love with every verse he reads, planting hope like precious seeds. He's a shepherd with a virtual flock,